Mr. Speaker, after 9 years of this Prime Minister, car theft in Canada is completely out of control. 2 in 5 Canadians have either had their car stolen or know someone who has. Last week in Victoria, a repeat offender was arrested 3 times in 3 days for stealing cars. The police in Victoria had to put out a statement, and they laid the blame for this on the Liberals' failed Bill C-75. Will this Justice Minister listen to the police and reverse their soft-on-crime Bill C-75?
The Honourable Minister of Justice and Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, I've got a lot of respect for that member. He's my critic. He served on the Justice Committee with me for a number of years. What I don't have respect for is the instructions he gets from his leader on how to vote. When we have legislation in the chamber that deals with, in the fall economic statement, tackling the money laundering and organized crime links to auto theft, he's instructed to vote against. Before even reading the document that is the budget 2024 and what it contains with respect to addressing auto theft, increasing maximum penalties, dealing with the link between using youth and organized criminality, and tackling more money laundering, he was told to vote against yet again by his leader.
The Honourable Member from Fundy Royal.
Mr. Speaker, the Justice Minister's own vehicle was stolen 3 times in the last 3 years. The Liberals are not fixing the problem. Conservatives have a private member's bill in the House right now that establishes serious jail time for repeat car thefts. Mr. Speaker, this individual in Victoria was arrested 3 times in 3 days. He pushed a woman out of her car to steal her vehicle. He drove off and caused a collision. It's time in Canada that we crack down on repeat violent
Grand Theft Auto,
Conservatives will do it.
You guys should see my next video that's coming out. It's on this one guy who's got like 39 charges and he was just arrested again, like just like this guy 3 times in 3 days.
Dealt with by our bail regime. He voted in favor of that. You should also know that when C-75, the very bill.
Dude, C-75 is a terrible bill.
I'm going to ask members, please, to allow the Minister to listen to his question. I'll ask you to settle down. The Honourable Minister from the top.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. That member knows and should know that on the bail reform bill that he actually voted in favor of, it tackles serious violent repeat offenders, which would include those who use serious violence in committing an auto theft. What he should also realize is that the very bill he impugns, Bill C-75, when that was before this chamber in the 42nd Parliament, we promoted an augmentation, an increasing in the penalty that is available for auto theft. He and all of his colleagues voted against. What I would prefer is some collaboration and a bit less hypocrisy.
The Honourable Member from Halifax West.
Mr. Speaker, our government is making historic efforts to solve Canada's housing crisis. Not only do we need to build more homes, we need to build them faster, and Canada must change the way we build those homes. Can the Minister of Housing, Infrastructure and Communities tell this House and Canadians the new measures introduced to solve Canada's housing crisis?
The Honourable Minister for Housing, Infrastructure and Communities.
I thank the Honourable Member for her question and for her advocacy for housing supports, particularly for the most vulnerable across the City of Halifax. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to share that we have put forward a plan to solve Canada's national housing crisis. It includes new measures that will help make it easier to build more homes by reducing the costs, eliminating the barriers, including freeing up more public land. It includes more measures to help young people save up for a down payment and to reduce their mortgage costs. And it also includes measures to support those who cannot afford to have a roof over their head, including a recent investment of $11 million to build more housing for persons with disabilities and seniors. We're going to continue to make the investments to solve Canada's housing crisis.
The Honourable Member from Courtenay, Alberni.
Mr. Speaker, last week the BC police chiefs told us it is deadly street drugs laced with fentanyl that is killing thousands, not the diversion of safer supply. They clearly advise that preventing people from using drugs in public and preventing toxic drug deaths requires more, not fewer safe consumption sites. BC has listened to the police call for more tools to deal with the public use of illicit substances. When will the Liberals ignore Conservative disinformation, recall the expert task force, and formulate a comprehensive plan to end the toxic drug crisis? When?
The Honourable Minister of Mental Health and Addictions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the member for being a collaborative partner in addressing the toxic drug supply and the tragic overdose deaths that are taking over this country from day to day. We're committed to a comprehensive, collaborative, and evidence-based substance policy approach. We appreciate the excellent work of the expert task force on substance use, whose mandate was to provide advice to the government on a renewed Canadian Drugs and Substance Plan. It's important that the actions be informed by independent advice of experts and evidence. I've asked the department to reestablish an expert advisory committee, and work is underway.
The Honourable Member from Spadina, Fort York.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians want to know how a deportation order, one upheld by a federal court, of a person convicted of 5 criminal charges and who didn't like to attend much school despite being in Canada on a student visa, somehow still managed to get ministerial intervention to stop his removal. Did the Minister of Immigration intend to make a mockery of our legal and immigration systems? Or was this intervention guided by the hope of getting a few more votes for his party in BC?
Hear, hear. The Honourable Minister for Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship.
As the member well knows, these are matters that we talk about publicly, much less on the floor of the House of Commons. Thank you.